What's up guys, this time I'm gonna deep dive into what clipping army actually is, and I try to give you as clear and good explanation and detailed explanation as possible. So let's get to it. So important thing to remember that the main goal of clipping is to bring brand awareness. The goal is not to create conversions, which basically means that, for example, there's an ad that the whole purpose of the ad is to drive people into the website to buy something. So the whole point is to convert people. But with clipping army, it's straight up brand awareness. So how does brand awareness compare to conversions is that with brand awareness, you basically gather people's interest, like with the short form content. And then from those short form contents, the people get interested and start to follow the business's long form content, like YouTube videos, for example. And from those YouTube videos, people might decide to buy whatever they are selling and convert. So let's say brand awareness is here. Then the next step would be to get the people who are interested, drive them into something, which could be like YouTube videos, for example. And from this YouTube video, that is gonna create the conversion, make people buy. Just for example. So this is basically good for any business that wants to bring brand awareness. And this is a short way of describing what clipping army is. It is organic content at scale. You know, organic content, everything you post on social media, and scale means doing a lot of it, doing a lot of volume. Okay, let's move on. And then to make things super clear, we have a couple terms that I wanna explain. We have clipper, which is basically a short form content creator, and short form content is basically anything on TikTok, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, that kind of stuff, basically short videos. Then clips are this short form content. It's just an easy way to call it. So this is where the name comes from, clipping army. Let's move on. So here we have one of two examples how this could work. So up here on top of everything we have the business. This is where everything starts from. Then under it, down here, we have all sorts of like long form content that could be used. For example, YouTube, podcast, streams. For artists, this could be live performances. But we have just three for this example's sake. And this example only works if the business does like one of these things, that they have some long form content. If they don't, this simply doesn't work. So keep that in mind. So let's say the business is doing all types of long form content, all of these three. Then the business would get to decide on which one of these they are gonna use. They can use one or they can use all of them. For this example, we're gonna use podcasts. Then down here, we have the clipping army. So all of these little clippers down here are gonna form a clipping army. So how this works is that the clippers are gonna take this podcast content and create new content from it, reuse it, repurpose it, and then after that they get to decide one of these platforms down here, and again the business gets to decide on which ones to use, and they will post it on that platform. And again, the clip can be posted to multiple of these pages, depends on what the business wants. But after that is done, after the clip is posted, let's say for this example on TikTok, the clipper will share the link with the business, and the business confirms that yes, this is exactly what we wanted, and then the business is gonna pay the clipper. Okay, pretty simple. So business creates long form content, clippers create short form content from the long form content, post it on social media, and the business pays them. Okay, let's move on. Okay, this is the second way of doing this, and this is good specifically for that reason, that the business doesn't need to have any long form content for this to happen. This is for businesses that don't have long form content, but they still want to have some brand awareness online. So how this works is that, again, up here, first thing we have is a business, and then down here again we have the clippers. But the difference this time is that these clippers are UGC clippers, which means user generated content. And what that means is that they will create the content themselves. One example could be that the artist wants to promote a song, so the clippers will create videos with the song and post it on social media. That is UGC, it is normal content made by normal people, basically. So this time the clippers will either take some resources from the business, it could be a song, or for a restaurant it could be a hamburger, or for clothing brand it could be a piece of clothing, or just like some other resources that they need to use. it can be as simple as talking about the business and mentioning their name. So they take the resources, create the UGC content, and again they post it somewhere on social media. Let's say for this example that they're gonna post it on Instagram and on YouTube. And again, once that is done, the clipper is gonna share the link to the business, and the business is gonna either accept it, and then the business is gonna pay the clipper. Business gives clipper some resources, tells them what to do, they create content, and then they post it on social media, and then business checks that everything's okay, and then they pay the clipper. Pretty simple. Let's move on. Okay, now we're gonna go through some technical stuff on how this clipping agency works. And everything's gonna happen on this platform called WOP, and WOP is basically a site where you can create communities, and then you can pay for people to do certain tasks. And everything that I showed to you on this page is gonna be taken care of by clipping agency. So how this works is that we will create a community inside WOP for the business. So let's say, for example, that the business would be a pizza restaurant, for example, then the community would just be called Pizza Restaurant, if that's the name of the business. And everything happens inside this community. And because this is a pizza restaurant, we will probably have to do a UGC, meaning people make the content themselves. So a lot of these clippers are gonna be also the customers of the restaurant. They're gonna be fans of the restaurant. So this community wouldn't just be for work, just for clippers, but it's also a community for the customers and fans to communicate and get like certain benefits, for example. So if someone is really enthusiastic about your pizza restaurant, they can just be inside this community and hang around and talk about it. And some people who also like the restaurant, but they also want to make some money from it. So this community would also be a good way to build a community around your brand, around your customers, and it's also a way to give back to your customers. So after creating the community at WOP, the business is gonna deposit a budget inside WOP for their clipping campaign. So let's say the business wants to spend 10,000 on this clipping campaign. This money will be split between clippers depending on how many views they get. So after that, the clippers can join this WOP community, and they read all the guidelines and follow them and take all the resources they have to. So for this example, it could be that they have to mention the restaurant in the video and tag the restaurant. Then after that, they're gonna create the content and share it on the platform they were told to. And after the content has been posted on social media, they're gonna share the link to the WOP community. And inside this community, a clipping agency is gonna check that everything follows the guidelines, that everything is going according to the rules, and if everything is okay, they're gonna take a bit of that budget and give it to the clipper. But this might sound a bit confusing, but the clipping agency is gonna take care of everything, so you as a business owner, you don't need to worry about it. But let's go through this one more time. So you create a community at WOP. Business is gonna deposit a budget for the campaign that they wanna run. The clippers are gonna join this community and see what guidelines they have, what rules they need to follow. They follow those rules, they make content, they post the content, and then they're gonna get paid from the budget. So if this got you interested and it sounds like something that would be good for your business, contact me, check out the link in the description, and I will see you guys on the other videos. Bye.